I did mention, and I'll mention it again, that there will be advantages in the token sale for EOS token holders. Without going into detail, because we're still ironing out the detail, airdrops historically are not very successful unless the superseding asset is quite successful. In our case, one of the largest issues with EOS is there's no capital. We need more people. We need external capital to come into the ecosystem. We've been very public about this, where what's missing in EOS, a big part of it is people making money. People have not been making money. You need people to make money in order for then an ecosystem to start thriving, because when people make money, they start deploying that capital and it starts forming a cycle of capital generation. EOS at this stage, if the EVM token or any token right now were deployed 100% as an airdrop, it would be a failure. The token holders would take that token and immediately sell it off, and you would not have any external capital being brought in. I'm not saying that there won't be any airdrop. I'm saying that the model of 100% airdrop to token holders would be a massive failure. There would be no incentivization for anybody to continue developing the product. There would be no money being made by those who are actually putting in the work. There would be no long-term effect as well for the EOS token holders, other than they would get the token and would immediately sell it off. It's bad all around. It's a flawed model.
One more thing is, like, would you guys like to see people swapping their BNB for EOS or swapping their Ethereum for EOS? Like, that's essentially what will happen here, because what do you expect the majority of the Trust EVM's team's treasury to be? Like, do you think that they're going to hold all of these other assets? Maybe some, but I would imagine that the majority of their treasury is going to be EOS. So whenever it goes through this launch pad, it's going to be bringing in external capital and most likely swapping a large portion of that into EOS as a treasury. Also, the team itself, if we want the Trust EVM to have a 10-year runway, if it was 100% airdrop, then like, where are they getting their capital? This just came up last night on the EVM call. We're lending developers to the EVM team, and Yves was very strict. He said, Marius and the rest of the team, like, you guys could use REG, you guys could use Bucky, but it's temporary. As soon as you guys launch, you guys have to have your own team of developers ready to go and on standby, ideally starting before that, because as soon as you guys go through this IEO and launch your project, you guys are on your own in a lot of ways. So they're going to have their own treasury, their own runway, and they wouldn't have that if there was 100% airdrop and that's like the entire supply. It's all about external capital. It's all about growing this ecosystem and giving upside to the new people coming in, and then they'll stick around. You open the door with the Trust EVM, and then it introduces a whole new audience to EOS. And that's the idea. It's the introduction. This is the absolute best possible way to introduce EOS to a much, much larger audience and community than what is on this call and hanging out in the Telegram groups on the day-to-day. And the other thing is, I keep saying the protocol-owned liquidity should not be understated. So it's the same thing as an airdrop, except instead of everyone getting EVM tokens, the network itself has a stake in the EVM tokens, because in a liquidity pool, you have half of it as EOS and half of it as EVM. If the EVM is successful, it's essentially buying everyone's EOS tokens, because the liquidity pool is going to fill up with EOS and it's going to have less EVM tokens. Think of it like that. Think of it like you're getting a EOS buyback out of it. That's what it's essentially going to do if it's successful.